The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Charles Lejano. While President Duterte reiterated that he's not endorsing any presidential candidate, he did make it clear which senatorial bid he wouldn't want to see back in the Senate. And that's none other than Senator Richard Gordon. During the campaign rally of PDP Laban held in Lapu-Lapu City, Duterte personally endorsed and raised the hand of every PDP Laban senatorial candidate present. Aside from his party's senatorial slate, President Duterte also campaigned for eight other senatoriables, but he told Filipinos not to allow Gordon to return to the Senate.
Kinahanglan gid niyo alisdan. Number 1 diha si Gordon. Sige na ipatawag unya malangan ang trabaho.
During the Uniteam's campaign in the city of Marawi, the governor of Lanao del Sur promised that the province is a solid Uniteam country. Marlene Alcaide with the details.
It was an eventful morning for Uniteam supporters in Marawi, Lanao del Sur on Thursday. The new capital complex was brimming with supporters. But the crowd turned rowdy as some tried to force their way in. In the end, many went home after failing to enter the venue. Meanwhile, despite a number of Mindanaoans pushing for the Rosa or Robredo-Sara tandem, loyalists say the Lanao del Sur is a solid Uniteam country. Provincial Governor Mamintal Adyong assured presidential bet Ferdinand Marcos Jr. that Lanao del Sur would deliver votes and carry the Uniteam. Aside from this, 38 municipal mayors showed up at the event to show support.
Para sa amin dito sa Lanao del Sur, walang epekto sa amin yun. Kung kaya naming ibigay lahat ang boto, kay BBM gagawin namin yun. Alam naman natin, ang PFP at ang Lakas, pumirma na sila ng kasunduan na dadali nila si BBM from PFP and Mayor Inday Sara from Lakas CMD. At hindi lang yon. Nagustuhan natin doon sa programa ng ating ni BBM and Sara yung pagkakaisa.
Marawi has some 79,000 registered voters while Lanao del Sur has almost 700,000.
Lahat mahalaga sa akin, bawat boto mahalaga sa akin. Kaya kahit saan may kailangan na makatulong, kung may magpapahayag ng suporta, ay talaga pupunta namin.
As for Marcos Jr., he hopes to win this time in the province as he lost here during the 2016 elections. His running mate Sara Duterte, on the other hand, was not present during the Marawi campaign sortie. Instead, she made the rounds in Bataan. For News 5, Marlene Alcaide, we are One News.
Former Senator Bongbong Marcos has denied accusations that he's just running for president to avoid his tax evasion case. From the presidential candidate Manny Pacquiao had earlier claimed that Marcos is forcing a return to Malacanang to erase all records of his family's unpaid estate taxes. Marcos was asked in an ambush interview if there's any truth to this accusation, and his response, not very much. PDP Laban senatorial candidate Greco Bellica defended Marcos Jr. over his family's 203 billion peso estate tax case. Despite being the former chairman of the Anti-Corruption Commission, Bellica says he doesn't mind being connected with Marcos, who is facing allegations of both corruption and tax evasion. Recall that Bellica's party, PDP Laban, had earlier officially endorsed Marcos's presidential bid. When asked about his take on Marcos's cases, Bellica says such allegations are just part of politics. And he also believes that the cases have yet to be proven. This despite the Supreme Court itself ruling back in 1999 that the estate tax liability of the Marcoses was final and executory. Meanwhile, for former PNP Chief Guillermo Eleazar, the Marcoses should pay their estate taxes. Eleazar says the government should go after the Marcoses, noting that this money can be used to fund certain measures, such as pandemic response and aid for those affected by oil price hikes.
Lahat naman po dapat sinisingil. Ito yung maliliit nga po ng mga utang sinisingil. Lahat po dapat ay sisingilin. Dahil yun ang po inasa batas at dapat ay sinusunod natin. At tayo naniniwala na malaking tulong po yun. Lalo na tayo dumaranas ngayon sa challenges dala ng pandemya at sunod-sunod na mga pagtaas ng ating krudo.
One expert says it's still too early to consider COVID-19 as endemic. In an interview with the Chiefs, vaccine expert panel member Dr. Ron Jean Solante said given the potential of campaign events to become super spreaders, he's not yet keen on downgrading COVID-19. Solante also reiterated the need to receive booster shots against the coronavirus.
Hybrid immunity. But the hybrid immunity works only insofar as that it is not also a longer protection. That's why the government is really focusing now on people receiving the booster dose, the first booster dose for the eligible population, because we want to prepare that once there is waning immunity and all of this super spreader event, pag nag-converge kasi ito, doon natin makikita.
The White House is denying that the Biden administration is needling or trolling Russian President Vladimir Putin over the war in Ukraine. Let's watch this.
Today, we're also celebrating the life and legacy of Cesar Estrada Chavez, a champion for social. I think writ large, we have seen that this invasion has been a strategic failure for Putin and for Russia. They are working to redefine the initial aims of their invasion. And we've seen time and again that the sanctions that have been applied are exacting extreme costs on their economy. So I don't have anything to add to what the president said, except to say we have seen incontrovertible evidence that this has been a strategic disaster for Russia.
You keep saying though that this is to try and paint a picture of Putin's strategic blunder or strategic error, but it certainly seems like you're needling and trolling Vladimir Putin here.
Those are your words, not ours. We have been very clear that we are. Everything that we are doing here is designed to advance our ultimate strategic aim, which is strengthening, as I said, strengthening Ukraine on the battlefield, strengthening their hand at the negotiating table, giving them what they need to push back on Russian aggression. And I think it is self-evident based on what we've seen since Putin invaded on February 24th, as we've seen their economy collapse, we've seen the ruble collapse. The impact of his choice has been significant, and we're going to continue to advance our strategy of doing everything we can to ensure that Ukraine has what they need to continue to push back on Russian aggression.
Comedy icon Jim Carrey expresses support for Chris Rock after the controversial smacking incident at the Oscars. Recall that Will Smith went up to Chris Rock as he was hosting the awards show and slapped him after Rock joked about the hair of Smith's wife, Jada Pinkett Smith. Now Carrey is throwing his support behind his fellow comedian, saying striking people is wrong.
I'm just here to say that striking another human being is wrong. That initial terrible feeling that it elicited, stuck with me for a day. I was saddened by it. Chris Rock is one of the sweetest, loveliest people I know. He is infinitely kind and supportive. If there's anyone who is constantly telling me my value to the world, it's Chris. Coupled with one of the great intellects ever to do the game, he truly is a genius on his feet. And an alchemist, and he's really a beautiful treasure, and so I hated to see him go through that.
Time now for a quick look at some of today's headlines. Metro Manila and nearly 200 other areas remain under Alert Level 1 starting today until April 15. BPO workers officially return to on-site work today. And live audiences will return in the UAAP starting next week. And those are the top stories at this hour. Join us again later at 11 a.m. as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play. Register for a free account at www.signalplay.com so you can stream One News live anytime and anywhere. I'm Charles Lejano. Mask on, wash hands, and stay safe, Philippines. We're One News.